Welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and inside this game overview and gameplay video, the solo game of the month for the month of May, coming from Best with One, is Hunted Mining Colony 415. This game is designed by Gabe Barrett and will be landing on GameFound for May 14th. You want to find a link to that campaign page. I have it not only in the top right hand corner, but also in the pinned comment and video description for you. Without further ado, let's find out more about what Hunted Mining Colony 415 is all about. And then we're going to dive right into a solo play to show you exactly how this game flows and operates. You were on your way back to Earth after a year-long mission when a distress beacon abruptly roused you from your hypersleep. The message was mostly static, but it was obvious that something terrible has happened at the mining colony 415. Once you and your crew landed and started looking around, unidentified life forms started wreaking havoc. During the chaos, everyone got split up, and you don't know if anyone is alive or dead. Even Sprinkles, the ship's cat, is missing. You've just heard over the colony's announcement system that the self-destruct protocol has been activated, so you'll have to race back to the landing pad 7 to get aboard your ship and get out of there before everything explodes, and you'll have to do it while being hunted by aliens. Now, with an understanding of the backstory, let's talk about the win and loss conditions for the game. In order to win the game, we have to do what the narrative mentioned just moments ago. We need to traverse through this mining colony and get out of here by getting to the landing pad. Unfortunately, at the landing pad, that is where the alien queen will be, and we're going to have to take her down in order to succeed. The game includes a number of locations, so this deck is set up appropriately. How you do this is there'll be a whole bunch of location cards inside the box. You're not going to use every single one of them every play, so there's always some variability, and you'll never know exactly which locations you're going to run into as you go through your solo plays. It'll change every time, but you'll draw 14 location cards, and then from the top of that card pile of 14, you're going to draw 2. You're going to place the landing pad with the alien queen in that set of 2, shuffle them up, so you'll have 3 cards total there, and you're going to place them at the bottom of the deck. That's going to make your location deck, which I've already put together here. So when we get to the tail end of this deck, we don't know exactly when the landing pad is going to show up. Now let's talk about the loss conditions. The first one being pretty obvious when you're talking about an alien theme, and that is taking too much damage. Inside this deck right here, we have a number of cards, and once we go to take our 5th card, we are going to die. So we can have up to 4 of these damage cards. That's okay. When we have to take a 5th, that's the end. Now these damage cards will also have an effect on them we have to resolve when we take them, and if we happen to heal during gameplay, those damage cards will be returned back to this deck over here, and they can actually trigger once again when they come back to us if we take damage again in the future. I'll be doing everything I can to avoid the aliens killing me through damage, but the other way we can also lose the game is through time. We take too much time or we spend time too frivolously, that can come back to actually haunt you. So you can see down here when we set up the game, you're going to have a number of event cards just like the location deck. You won't see every single one, every single play. That'll add to the variability as you play the game over and over again. So there's a bunch of events here. We have no idea what they are, but there's 4 time on the first one, and every time we clear the top of the card of those tokens, we then trigger the event and we move to the next event card, and 4 times placed on it, and we continue in that fashion all the way down to the game over card. There will be 4 on that particular card, and once the last time is taken off of it, which will be a total of 20 time if we don't gain any additional during the play, that is a loss. So not only do we have to avoid being killed off by aliens, we also have to keep an eye on how much time we have left. And there's ways in which time will be spent as you go through gameplay, and they are as follows. When you choose to hide, which we'll talk about later on, when you toss tokens during a fight using the dexterity component of this game, you can also, if you choose not to use dexterity, you can use a deck of cards for a result when you're fighting the aliens. But every time you basically go ahead into a fight and throw a token, you are going to be burning time. Another way is when you reload your guns, that will burn a time token, or you activate cards that literally tell you to lose time. Now, with an understanding of the win and loss conditions, let's talk about the components laid out around the game table that I haven't discussed just yet. So first off, we have some grenade tokens, which we'll use if we ever get a grenade during this. We also have laser tokens, those 3 in the center there. We have 3 flame tokens. These are typically used for things like flamethrowers. We have the hit tokens, so when we actually do hits to the alien, but we don't kill it, we need to track it because it'll be hitting us back in those moments. This is what we use to basically say that we've hit it for some damage, but it hasn't been enough to actually take it out. This right here is for small tests. There's specific card or cards in the game that will let you use that when you're using a dexterity challenge. And then you've got these key tokens as well. Now inside of this game tray, this does not come as part of this prototype or in the final version. I only use these just to keep things organized. We have a number of tokens in here. So the first one, which you'll see quite often, is going to be the shot tokens, because these will be used when you're using guns. We also have clips of ammo, and then we have more time tokens. Here we have the location deck, as I mentioned before, the damage deck as well, and these three right here, these aliens with a star on them, they're pulled out to the side and left until called upon. These are going to come out of the hunted deck of cards, so you're going to remove these from this deck at the beginning of play and just place them to the side. If a card specifies an alien's coming into the fray, it will come from this over here. Next, we have the hunted deck, the big one in the middle. This is where the primary action is happening. We'll be drawing cards on our turn to fill out a row and not drawing endlessly, as there's icons on them and there's certain triggers which will have aliens come after us. We do have the ability to potentially hide and clear the row. We'll talk about how all that works, but our main objective is to try and trigger this icon right here so we can get through the location deck. I'll show you how the synergy between this deck and this deck works as we go through gameplay. Next up, we have the events and the game over card, again with 4 time on it. We touched on this earlier, but I do want to mention that if you actually total this all up, you can see every event as we go through will have 4 time on it by default. So in total, including the game over card, you're going to have a total of 20 time tokens to go through. But there are ways to lose time faster or potentially gain more time as you go through the game. You'll see how both of those elements will pop up and cause interesting, tough choices at times. Next up right here, we also have the retoss token. This is a token you can discard after you toss ammo at the circle in the box in order to hit aliens. So if you throw this dexterity game and you miss the circle that you're supposed to hit, the target, you can use a retoss token in order to retoss for no penalty and no time spent. A really nice thing to have, but once you use it, it is discarded. And then this right here is the large test token. So if you're ever doing a major test, say for instance coming off a location card or something else, you'll use this token rather than ammo tokens. Speaking of ammo, when you start the game with the pulse rifle, you're going to have 3 ammo clips, as it denotes right on the card, as well as 4 shots loaded in the gun. Now, moments ago, I talked about the fact that when you're taking shots at aliens, there's a dexterity game built right into this one, where you'll be throwing tokens, trying to land them in the circle location. It can either be inside, it can be on the line, either one counts as a hit. So when you're throwing multiple tokens, you can potentially get multiple hits. And if at any time you want to ramp the difficulty up, you can flip this over to the opposite side, giving you an expert and hard area, making it even tougher to land these hits. The one thing you have to do and keep in mind when you're using this dexterity game is that you have to make sure that your hand never crosses over top of the box. So you're throwing always from essentially looking down at a bird's eye view at the box. You cannot have your hand cross over into the zone where the box is. Now, for those out there that are not a fan of dexterity or dexterity presents problems for you, you can absolutely use the fully built-in result deck, which allows you to play a very cool way of nailing hits against those aliens. And I'll show you this towards the end of the video. It's now time to head into gameplay. Let's see whether we can get to the landing pad and take out the alien queen. We're going to start here with the hunted deck. I'm going to choose to draw from the start, as that's what you're going to be doing mainly through this game. You have the option to hide as well. You'll see when that comes into play based on what I get off this deck. So first off here, we got ourselves an alien right away. Now this isn't all bad news, and I'll talk about the 2 ways that combat is triggered. In other words, you're forced into an encounter or combat with an alien. So we went ahead and we drew a card from the hunted deck, and it is an alien. This alien will not trigger until 2 noise is also in the row with the alien. So that is one combination where combat will be triggered. It doesn't matter the order that that happens in. It can be 1 noise comes in the top left, then an alien comes in, and then another noise in the top left. That would trigger combat with an alien. Everything in the row at that point would get discarded, meaning any good things in the row you might be trying to go after would be gone into the discard pile. The second way that combat can be initiated is if you have a situation just like this with 1 alien, and then the next card you draw off the top of the deck is another alien. If you ever have 2 in your row, everything again is discarded except for the 2 aliens. You take a look at the strength of the alien in the top left-hand corner, and you have to have combat with the one which is strongest. And if they are both equal, you get to choose which one you have to have a combat with. So in essence, there's a lot of push your luck going on here, and there's two ways combat can be thrust upon you. But so long as you have a loaded gun ready to go with some ammo inside of it, and you're ready to take on that alien, it may not be that bad, and it can be worse sometimes pushing your luck. But once your ammo starts to dry up and you start trying to push your luck too hard, it can go the opposite way quite quickly. So you're probably wondering, how do you mitigate the arrival of these aliens and having them not trigger for combat against you? The one major way is to go ahead and hide. If you choose to hide, everything in the row gets discarded. That includes any good things you might be eyeing. That could be things that could lead you to move through this location deck faster. It could be a great item that you're eyeing. Everything in the row is discarded, including all the nasty cards that are generating noise and aliens. So it does clear the threats out, but gets rid of all the good at the same time. And you have to discard one time on top of it. I've gone ahead and pushed my luck, and I got myself the auto gun. Thankfully, it was not another alien, because if it had been, we would have had a combat happening. In this case, it's just one noise, and you'll see this alien will trigger once there's two noise in the row. So another way to mitigate the noise in the row is to actually try and acquire the cards that have noise on them, or get rid of the cards out of the row that have noise on them. You could do this by paying the cost in the bottom right-hand corner, and you can pay that icon cost by finding other cards that come through the deck into the row that have the symbol you're looking for in the top left-hand corner. So if I had other cards in here that had magnifying glasses, I could discard them in order to acquire this auto gun and bring it down here, so long as I pay the purchase price of the two magnifying glasses. So not only are you kind of benefiting from the item you're purchasing, you're also mitigating the nasty chance that you could have an alien encounter. So let's quickly talk about the iconography on this auto gun so that it's crystal clear. So again, anything here in the top left is what you really want to keep your eyes on right at the gates, because again, if it does happen to have noise that meets the requirements of another alien, you have to trigger that right away. In this case, it doesn't, so we ignore the noise symbol, but you'll see a key here as well. So this is a way in which this card could be used to pay for another card. So for instance, if we found ourselves a door to go through that required a key, in other words, we had a door card here with a key in the bottom right, and that was its requirement, it's always in the bottom right, then we would have the key necessary to unlock the door, and we could discard the auto gun to use it as a key to get through the door. In this case, right now, this is not going to help us. It also says down here, in order to get this card in our inventory, as I mentioned, we need to get two magnifying glass. So these cards are multi-use, long story short. And in the top right-hand corner, you also have what kind of thing this card is. This is an item card, letting you know full well that you can go ahead and actually pay the magnifying glass to acquire it down here. And there's no limit whatsoever to how many cards you acquire in your inventory. Well, I pushed my luck, and it didn't pan out for me that great. So I got myself another alien. At this moment, two aliens mean we trigger a combat. So at this point in time, this auto gun is going to be discarded, and we're going to take the higher of the two. Now, both of them are a 1 in terms of their strength, so we get to choose between them, but you'll also notice another icon right here below it, and that icon means that that particular alien would go after any allies or companions that you potentially have when it does its damage. But it's not going to matter in this case, so I'll just grab one either way. So we know we need to hit this alien for 1 damage, and we have multiple shots loaded inside of this gun right now. We have a total of 4 shots, so I could choose how many shots I want to throw in this dexterity test in order to try to land the one I need to kill the alien. Only one needs to land, so I could choose to be really efficient and just use 1 single shot, but of course the odds of actually landing the circle might be much more difficult. So maybe I'll lean into things a little bit, and we're going to go ahead with well, that's the thing. I've got 4 here, so I could split it 2 and 2, but if I miss, I'm going to take a damage. So let's actually, this is tough. Let's go ahead and try, well, you know what? I'm going to go with my gut here and see that 2 might be all I need. So now we're going to do our dexterity test, and of course, if you don't want to do dexterity, you have the result deck to draw from. If you want to go that way, we'll talk about that at the end of the video. I'm going to go dexterity all the way because I actually learned quite quickly that I really enjoy it. It's actually a lot of fun to try to pull this off. The only rule around this throw is you throw all the tokens at the same time, so you got to keep them in hand. You can do that however you wish style-wise, but the one thing to keep in mind is think of the box itself as kind of a barrier, and think of those barriers going straight upwards. In other words, your hand and fingers cannot go over top of the box at any time when throwing these tokens. So you have to do it and release prior to getting to the edge of the box. So we're going to go ahead and see whether I can pull this off. I need 1 token inside the circle or on the edge of the circle to get a hit. So here's hoping I can nail this. Oh, that is super, super close. Now, as you can see, this is a very, very close shot. Now, I took a look from the very top down, which is what matters to see whether the token is on the line, and it is in fact covering a millimeter of the line, and I am not joking. Now, from the angle you're looking at, it would look closer to a miss because it's kind of coming at it from the worst possible angle, but it is in fact sitting right on the edge of that line. So we dealt with the alien's taken out, and one thing to remember, whenever you toss tokens to do combat, you lose a time. So one time token is gone from right here when we took that shot. And we have to also keep in mind for our gun here, we've only got 2 shots in our gun right now. So we have to think about whether or not we want to risk just doing 2 again next time, being that we're so close to actually missing that. We could go ahead and load another clip, but if we did this, we'd lose more time. So maybe I will just chuck 2 the next time, or try to find a better gun by moving on, which is what I'm going to do next. So let's go ahead and see if we can start getting some icons to get through this location deck. So the next one here, this is a good one. So this says we found ourselves a corridor as we move through the mining facility. This one will have us paying 2 of these sneakers in order to get us through this corridor, and that will lead us to pulling 1 location card. It also, this card can be used for a magnifying glass. So got to think about different ways to use each card. Let's go on to the next one. We got ourselves our first noise here in the row. This one is going to cost 2 magnifying glass to take the auto gun. Now what's cool about this is the fact that I do have 1 magnifying glass, which is tempting to go after items. So you can see the game is going to kind of bait you into potentially taking items and saving up for them at the detriment of losing out on things that might actually get you to progress through the game. And you have to decide the right times to do certain things depending on how you got things going in your inventory. But I'm going to press on because things are safe at this moment. We got another noise, and now we're getting into danger territory because we have 2 noise. If 1 alien comes out, that will trigger everything in the row to be discarded and we'll lose everything. So we have things we need to think about. Now, the worst part about all this is that we're 1 away from anything. So basically, if I want to go ahead and traverse through the corridor, I need 1 more of those sneaker icons. I only have 1 so far. And if I want to take the auto gun or the motion detector, I only have 1 magnifying glass right now. You'll see abilities on each of these items, and they do not matter until they're actually acquired into your inventory row. Then you can use them for their effect. So I'm going to do something a little scary. I'm going to push my luck here and see if we don't get an alien, because I really don't want to see one. And we're okay, but we got more noise, but we did get another magnifying glass. So now at this point, I have 2 magnifying glasses here in the row. I could discard both those cards in order to gain the magnifying glasses and then pay the cost to take the auto gun or the motion detector, both of which look great. So I chose to take the auto gun. Pretty happy with that. It allows me to discard an alien card that has just been drawn or is in the row. So this will help me to mitigate things when stuff gets nasty. So all that's left in the row right now is 1 noise. So we're safe to continue knowing that there's no way anything can trigger combat-wise. We got ourselves a control panel. All right, so I got 2 noise in the row, which is typically bad because maybe an alien might come out, but if it does, I have the auto gun now to deal with it, so that's a helpful thing. Ooh, we got ourselves the laser rifle. Now, can we get this in our hands? That would be awesome. We need 2 magnifying glasses, and we only have 1 sneaker. That is not going to be good, but we have 2 sneakers right here, which isn't bad, so maybe if we get ourselves a corridor or some type of door, we can kind of get moving here. I'm going to keep pushing, knowing that I have the auto gun. We got ourselves a companion. This individual here is Terrence, again, needing magnifying glasses in order to pick up. You'll see the icon right here. Remember earlier when we were talking about the aliens and it had that extra icon on one of them, the first combat that we did? That is the icon that ties to going after companions. So once we get 2 magnifying glasses and get this individual down here, then if we happen to get an alien that wanted to go after companions, that's the icon that would tell you it's going to try and kill that individual. So we're going to continue on here. Oh, we found ourselves sprinkles. We are really pushing our luck here because I have the auto gun. It's okay to do so. We did get ourselves 2 of the sneakers now, but we have everything for magnifying glasses. I'm going to keep on pushing my luck, knowing that I have the ability to be safe with this. Let's see what we get. Yes! This is what we wanted to see. So we got ourselves a corridor. This one costs 2 sneakers or movement to move through. So because of that, we have 1, 2, and 3. So we could choose which 2 we wanted to discard. And to be honest, it's tough because Sprinkles will allow us to get ourselves one of those retoss tokens back if we choose to flip her over when she's inside of our inventory. So that's good. Terrence is going to provide us with a key, and keys are really good for getting locked doors, through locked doors, and also through tougher elements of the gameplay. But the gun is so nice too. So Maybe what we'll do here is we'll use the motion detector. And, oh, this is so tough. I might keep the gun because I just don't know when another gun will come around. I want to not just rely on the pulse rifle. So these are the two I'm going to discard to get the 2 movement I need in order to traverse through this corridor right here. And as you can see, I just cleared out a ton of noise while doing so. And when we pay the 2 movement down here, we're going to go to the first location pull, which is this deck right here. So now I only have 1 noise in this row, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and pull a card and see what we get for a location. We found ourselves the morgue. Now this one is interesting. It states that we can lose a time to add a key token to our inventory. I'm going to do this because we haven't burnt much time yet. So I'm going to go ahead and use a time because key tokens are really valuable to push through the location deck. So I'm going to take that key token and we can use it later on. So the nice thing about that location is it's a may. You don't have to do it. A lot of those location effects will be like that, but some will force you into tests where you'll have to throw a token to try to succeed. And of course, a fail will have bad things happening. So the morgue is actually a nice one because, well, if we choose not to do it, there's no harm. So it's nice being in the morgue. Let's go ahead and draw the next card up knowing I'm pretty safe here with just 1 noise. There's our second noise, but we got ourselves a movement. So we have 2 movement once again. Let's keep going. Maybe we'll get another corridor. No, we did not. And check this out. This is, if I'm not mistaken, the toughest alien in the deck, I believe, is the 3. So the fact we have this auto gun right now is amazing because we can discard this to discard an alien card that's just been drawn in the row. So we are going to go ahead and ditch the auto gun to literally blast this alien away and stop this alien from triggering anything. Now, it doesn't reset anything to do with the row. It just gets rid of the alien that would have triggered a combat encounter. Now, something you might have noticed is the door over here requires a key to open it, and if we open it, we get 2 locations. So why don't we use that key we just got to go ahead and unlock that door and move through some locations. It'll also resolve one of the noise as well. So I probably should have done that earlier, but guess what? It's okay in any case anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and draw 2 of these up. Timing-wise, it worked out for me. Now, when this happens, you're gonna draw 2 cards from the location deck when you have an icon here that shows 2, and you're gonna pick 1 to resolve and 1 to discard. So this one says the satellite dish, test, succeed and gain the time, fail and lose 1 time. So I like this one to be able to gain something if we do well. This one says test, fail and take 1 damage and then discard a crew card from your inventory. Okay, well, I'm going to go with this one. Let's toss the broken bridge away. I don't like that. We're going to keep the satellite dish. And we're going to go ahead and make a test. And I'll show you how that works right now using this, the larger test token right here. We're about to do our very first test of the game on this location card. It's worth mentioning when you do a test and you throw a token, this large token right here, you're not going to spend time to do so. It's only when you're in combat with an alien and you're throwing tokens to hit the alien that you lose time. So this is just a straight test, and I got to get this thing on the circle or the edge of the circle to count as a succeed. Let's see if we can make this happen and get ourselves an additional time. No, I was outside of it. So unfortunately, the fail side of the equation for the satellite disk is to lose a time. So there goes 1 time back to the tray, and we are 1 time away from triggering the first event. All right, so we're not doing too bad. I've still got my eye on trying to potentially get the laser rifle if I can pull it off. And right now, not doing so good with the icons, but I only have 1 noise. So let's keep on going here. We got ourselves our second noise. This one is a grenade, and we can take it for 1 magnifying glass, which I would love to get. We get that icon. We can take that thing. We also got ourselves some movement. I'm going to push my luck here. I could hide for 1 time, but know full well if I choose to hide and take all these cards and chuck them, I'm going to lose a time and have to take the event. So I'd rather push it maybe 1 more time and see what we get. We got, I think, lucky. No, what we did in terms of icons, so that gives us some options here. Now, with all these awesome cards laid out, this is the kind of interesting puzzles that will present themselves as you're going to be baited into wanting to do things. For example, the door here requires a key to get through 2 location cards, which would be awesome. Anytime you can get through 2, that is a huge jump. Now, the problem is I don't have a key right now, but I could get a key by either picking up Terrence. The problem is Terrence needs 2 magnifying glasses, which is far outside my reach. This one over here only needs 1, and this card would go in my inventory as an item, and I could discard the card once it's there to get a key token that I could use to spend over here at the door and get through the location. So all that being said, sounds great, but I can't pay for this magnifying glass when I've only got one currently in the row and it's on the card I actually want to use to move through the location. So that strategy is not going to work. The only thing that could work is if I happen to try and pull one more card and see and cross my fingers that I get a magnifying glass. Let's go ahead and do it and see if we can pull this off. We didn't, but we got ourselves something else that we already have in the row. So the question is, do I want to keep being crazy? Now, this is normally the time when everybody would be screaming in the video saying, do not pull another card. You are for sure going to run into an alien, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because this connection could be awesome if it works. So let's see if I get what I need. We got ourselves an alien, so it did not work. So that is where everything in the entire row gets discarded, and we have to have a combat with this alien. It's time to take some shots at the alien. Let's use the 2 shots I have in the pulse rifle right now to see if I can get the one hit I need, as you can see in the top left-hand corner. Once we do this, we'll remove the time, and then we'll have to trigger an event. So let's see how this goes. Come on, land. Oh, it's just outside. That's bad news, which means we are taking our first damage. However, we do have an option to bail ourselves out if we wish to use it right now. I could use the retoss token. If I decide to discard this token, I can retoss those 2 tokens. Now, as you can see, these things are very small, and once you get up to larger weapons, you're going to have things that'll have explosion tokens, which are much bigger and easier to land on the circle, or potentially flames, like from a flamethrower and stuff like that, or lasers from the sniper rifle or whatever gun I lost just moments ago in that giant discard. So I could go ahead right now and toss, or discard, I should say, the retoss token to make this shot again. Tempted to do so. Kind of tempted to do so because these single shot ones are really, or these smaller token ones are tough to pull off. So I think I will. Now the question is whether or not this is going to pan out for me because I'm not throwing a lot right now. So here's hoping this works out. Here we go. Let's see if we can pull this off. Come on, alien, you got to get a headshot here. Let's make it happen. Yes. Now, it's important to note a retoss token does not cost you another time. So you're not spending one time for the initial throw and then another time for the retoss. The retoss is just exactly that, a free retoss. But we do lose one time because we did take one legitimate shot there. And we're going to go ahead and flip over the event card and see what it says. This one says, test, succeed and gain time, fail, and fight one alien. Let's now make our barricade test here. Hopefully we succeed and gain some time back. Let's see how we do. Yep, that is going to count. We got it right on the line, which is awesome. So that's a succeed, which means we gain a time back. As we're moving to the next event, we get a default 4 on it, but we get 1 additional. Now, one thing that we need to do to get some ammo back in our gun here is to reload. So I'm going to go ahead right now and we're going to reload for one of these clips, which will bring back 4 shot tokens. And that is also going to cost us 1 of the time that we just placed on the event. So we started with a default 4 we always get. We got the additional 1 there from the event we just resolved, and 1 is going to go away because we just reloaded the gun. So we're going to go ahead and put 4 shots in there, and this time is discarded. Let's continue on our way to try to get to the landing pad. Let's see what we get next. We got ourselves some aliens out of the gate. So again, once you start seeing aliens right from the start, especially ones that are nasty and require 2 hits to take out, and we don't really have an overly powerful weapon or backup weapon currently, it might be a good idea to hide. Now the question is, do I push it? Is it worth it? I don't know. Probably not, to be completely honest, because I think the damage will kind of really come back to bite us. So let's go ahead and use the extra time that we got to our advantage here. So we'll burn another time in order to hide, which means we get to discard everything in the row. So we're going to hide from these nasty aliens to make sure that they don't come back. And we go to the next card. This one has a noise, but it gives us a move icon. We need a key to get through this door, and it's one of those really awesome doors that get through 2 locations. So here's hoping we can find ourselves a key somehow. Oh my, can we get this flamethrower? That is what I want to see. We have a key, so that's the thing. We could choose not to take the flamethrower by not trying to push aggressively for more magnifying glasses to get it. Instead, we could discard this flamethrower for the key to unlock the door. I think that's probably the best option in this case, even though seeing the flamethrower go away makes me really sad. So we'll go ahead and discard this, discard the door in order to go through 2 cards from the location deck. Again, we choose which one we want to interact with and discard the other one. So this one says you may lose 1 time to fully reload the pulse rifle, or you may lose 1 time to heal 2 health. In this case, both of these are not going to be benefits for the moment, so it doesn't matter which one I choose. I'm going to discard one, the other's going to go here. So we're at the med bay currently, and we'll continue on. But we are working our way through this location deck in a good way. But that is not good. That is the opposite of good. And do I want to try and hide once again? I don't know. I don't know how much hiding I really want to try and do, but 2 is nasty to pull off with this gun. I could throw all 4 tokens at it. Let's go one more and see. Okay, so this is good and bad. It's probably more bad than anything else. We might be able to go one more. Let's push it and see if this is a good idea. We did it. We did it. We got ourselves a grenade. We can discard it for this movement in order to go through the corridor and go to the next location. So we've got aliens on our tail here. Let's continue to push and see if we can make it. We got ourselves the laboratory. This is you may lose 1 time to draw until you find an alien card. Discard it from the game and reshuffle. That does not sound like a bad thing to do. I think I will do that actually. So I'm going to go ahead and lose this time. This is probably a situation where maybe losing time actually makes sense. And we're going to draw until we find an alien card. So it's the first one we find is the one that we are going to toss. So, oh my gosh, look at these great cards. Now we'll reshuffle afterwards. So this one is gone. And I believe it states that it is discarded from the game. So we'll put it way off to the side. And then we're going to reshuffle this entire deck. I don't exactly know what it is about these aliens, but the one smiling at me, I'm not a fan of. I think bad things are going to happen. I might have to hide, but let's continue to push things and see how we do. So we got ourselves a magnifying glass. That's good. This one needs 2 movement to get through this corridor. Let's see if we can get lucky here. That is a complete blank on the icon, so that's not good. We have no noise, though, so we're doing okay on that. Oh, look at us getting all these magnifying glasses now. That is brutal. When we needed them before, we got tons of corridors. Here we go. Here's a door with a key that's needed. Ah, no. And so far, again, noise-wise, we're doing great. Let's keep pushing. We got ourselves a movement here. Now, this movement could be used to get through this corridor here. So let's go ahead and discard this motion detector, although it's pretty cool because it allows me to draw 3 cards if I had it as an inventory item. And then I get to... what would you do? If any of them are aliens, discard them, place the rest in the row. This is a great card. I've used this multiple times before and plays off camera. So for now, we're going to go ahead and use it for the movement in order to go through this corridor right here. And that'll allow us to go to the next location. So even though these guys are hot on my tail and bad things could happen, I am moving quite well. Barracks is next. The barracks tells me I can lose a time if I wish to search the deck or discard pile for Sprinkles and add him to your inventory and then reshuffle. Well, he was in the discard pile, so I definitely wanted to get Sprinkles for one major reason. I can get that retoss token back. So I burned a time, went through the discard pile, found Sprinkles, placed it here. I'm now going to go ahead and turn Sprinkles over. When I do this, I gain back the retoss token. So that is good news because that is going to be potentially handy if these guys come back at me. I could hide in order to get rid of this, but I got so many good corridors and doors in here, I really don't want to do that. And having magnifying glasses in here or search icons are just a huge thing to have because you can pay for really good cards. I'm hoping to find a weapon. Let's push our luck. We got ourselves a key. That's huge. Let's take a look. If we use the key over here, we'll discard this in order to pay for unlocking this door right here. And we can go through 2 more locations. Let's see what we get here. So again, we get to choose between the air ducts and the armory. The armory looks like a really good one for me right now. It says you may lose 1 time to draw cards until you find the weapon card, place it into your inventory and reshuffle the rest back in your deck. That's probably exactly what I'm going to do. The other one's to succeed and gain a time. That's really good. Fail and fight an alien. I'm not going to risk that. We're not going to do the air ducts. We're going to go ahead and do the armory. I'm going to burn a time to do this. When I do it, we have to trigger the event right away before we do anything else. So let's go ahead and find out what that is. It is, oh, look at this. While we're searching through the armory, falling crates happen. It says search the deck or discard pile for a motion detector, add it to your inventory and reshuffle. Then test. If you fail, you get hurt by these falling crates. All right, so we're resolving the event first. So we have to go ahead and search the deck, which I did to find the motion detector. It goes in my inventory. We're now going to go ahead and make that test to see if the crates fall down on us. Hopefully it doesn't. If they do fall down on us, we take a damage, and they do. Unfortunately, we're going to take a damage. Now, I could go ahead and use a retoss if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'll leave it for later. I'm going to take that damage right now, and we'll see what effect gets triggered from that. It's wounded and angry. It says gain 1 of the clip tokens for your pulse rifle. Not bad. bad, but I still get one of these cards, and again, once I have it and I'm going to take my 5th damage, we lose. All right, so we got ourselves a damage, and just so you know, the clip is now on the pulse rifle. We also have 4 time on the new event card going forward. We just finished this event, so this event can be thrown away, and I'm just placing them on top of the row, but normally you wouldn't do that. You could place them off to the side. This is gone and resolved. Next up, we can go back to the armory now at this point and try to draw cards until we find that weapon card. So let's see what weapon comes up first. This actually is a weapon. It's a grenade. So we're going to get a grenade and be able to add this in, and then we don't even bother having to shuffle anything over here for this deck because it was the top card off anyway. So we're good there. We'll just go ahead and take this and place it right here. Here's a look at my current inventory. One thing I need to correct is I flip Sprinkles over to gain a retoss token. I actually don't do this until I'm going to use the retoss token. So Sprinkles is still upright. No gameplay impact whatsoever, but essentially when things come into hand that have these icons in the middle, you don't just flip them over right away. You flip them over when you're actually going to use them. So during a combat, for instance, I would flip a grenade over if I wanted to add a grenade into a potential shot against an alien. You can do that if you want to. So it'll throw one of these tokens in there. It's got a 1 token on. That's a pretty sizable token, giving you pretty good odds of making a hit there. So let's continue on at this point. I think we're all set. Our event deck over here, or I should say the event card, has a 4 time on it. We're ready to keep on chugging along. I am still terrified of this. I could burn a time to get rid of it, but I love these cards and I want to keep working towards them. Plus, I haven't spent these magnifying glasses or search icons yet. I keep referring to them as magnifying glasses, but they are called search icons. All right, next one out of the deck is not good. A really bad alien appears and is obviously the worst of the 2, so we have to go after this one. To take down this alien, we need 3 hits, which is going to be pretty impressive. I'm hoping I can pull that off on camera. That would be fantastic. We're going to throw everything we have loaded into our pulse rifle, which is 4 shots, and on top of that, do exactly what I just talked about moments ago. We're going to take an inventory item, which is a weapon, which is a grenade, that can be added into shots. We're going to flip it over to gain the token here, which is going to give us a large token to also chuck in with a higher chance of success. We're going to need everything we can get to hopefully get the 3 that we need and avoid taking any more damage. Let's see how we do with this. It's going to be tough tossing all these at once. Let's see if we can pull it off. Oh my gosh, we literally got the 3 we need, and 2 of them are sitting on top of each other. As you can tell, the dexterity part of this game is extremely satisfying when you land those hits. That is the first time I have done 3 damage in 1 toss. That felt extremely good, thanks to the grenade helping out on that, but somehow magically 2 of the tokens landed on top of each other inside the circle, which is nuts. We do lose a time for taking that attack, so we're going to go ahead and take a time away. And at this point, we want to reload our pulse rifle to be ready for future attacks. So we'll go ahead and burn a clip, and we're also going to take a time away because when you reload, you do. And that's going to give us 4 shots back. So you can see like, these combat encounters, something you don't really want to be triggering a lot is a ton of combat, as you can see, because you're going to kind of take those 2 hits every time, not only for tossing the tokens, but also when you need to reload on top of it. Now I've got an item in my inventory that I probably should use. It's called the motion detector. Picked it up earlier. It says discard to draw 3 cards. If any of them are aliens, discard them, place the rest in the row. So I'm going to go ahead and use this right now. So we're going to go ahead and draw 3 cards. If there are any aliens, they are being discarded. Hopefully there are. No, there weren't, but all 3 of these land in the row, and they're actually not terrible. So let's just take a look at this here. We have 1 of the movement icons. We have a key here too. Wow, this is actually a really good pull. I could gain a reload for my pulse rifle, which is not really necessary because I have quite a bit of ammo for it. I would like to kind of move through here. So maybe I'll use the ammo to get through this corridor and hold on to this because this one's really good. So we're going to go ahead and discard this to get through the corridor to go through a location. So movement to get through. Let's see what we get for location. We're getting towards the end here. We got the lift. This one says test. Succeed to draw a location card. Resolve it or discard it. Fail. Lose 2 time. Oh my, that is going to be tough. Do you guys remember Sprinkles and the fact that I could potentially get a retoss token? This might be the time I use it. So let's go ahead and make a toss here and hope that we land this to draw a location card. If not, I'll probably use Sprinkles to help me out. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and flip Sprinkles over to get a retoss token in order to try and pull this off. And taking the larger test token, let's go ahead and make that toss once more and see if I can pull this off. Come on. Oh, just short. And that's actually pretty brutal because 2 time coming off this event is going to be rough as we trigger another event. So let's see what we get here. This one states, draw until you find a crew card and then test, succeed, and add it to your inventory, fail, and discard it. I've gone ahead and just placed the time on the event to get the next one ready. We're going to continue with this, drawing until we find the crew card. We got ourselves an alien. We got ourselves more aliens. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. Look at how many more aliens were coming at us later on. Let's keep going until we see a crew card. Is there any at all? They got to be in here somewhere. There's one. We have the chance to rescue this crew member that has a very good token connected to her. So if we can pull this off, that would be awesome. Let's see how we do. Yes. All right, so the good news is we have a good card to use in combination potentially with a pulse rifle if we get into trouble. This has now been resolved. We passed it, so we don't have to worry about the fail condition whatsoever. So this event is now dealt with, and we're back into the run. We have this card in here, which is a great one to have with the key, so really hoping to get something for the location at this point. We got ourselves some ammo. So we could take this ammo with this card, but I don't want to do that just yet, although we now have 2 noise, and I'm pretty sure you guys saw how many aliens that we were pulling off this deck, so it's a bit terrifying. I'm going to push my luck one more time here. Oh, that's not a great one to get. The med kit could help us, though, because we can actually, well, we'd have to discard a time to gain a health. Don't think I really like that idea as much. Let's go one more and see how we do. Wow, we got lucky there. This one just needs movement. Do I have that? I do with the ammo. So we're going to burn the ammo, and that's actually going to work really well. We're going to use this for its movement to get through the corridor here and be able to draw one more. Come on, we're going to be getting close to the end. Greenhouse, succeed and gain 1 health, fail and take 1 damage. So if we can gain ourselves a health, we can get rid of the 1 damage that we have on us, which wouldn't be bad. Otherwise, we're going to take a damage. So let's see how we do. Oh, we're good. So our 1 damage card goes back inside the damage deck and it gets reshuffled. So overall, we're doing pretty decent. We have 8 time left because I know I have 4 on this event and 4 on the game over card after this before we lose. So we need to keep pressing on here. So that's kind of why I'm pushing really hard to use this potentially. I'm going to continue through this deck and hope for the best. I should say up here, we gain the health, by the way, so the damage is back in. It's reshuffled. We don't have any damage on our character whatsoever, which is great news. We got ourselves some movement here, and we can actually use the movement to actually go through this corridor. So let's do that. Let's kind of push our way through into the corridor and go to the next location. Come on. Got to be close to the end. Trash compactor. Test. Succeed and you may lose 1 time to search the discard pile for a card and add it to your inventory. Fail and take a damage. So we can actually end up succeeding at this and then choose not to lose a time to search the discard pile if we don't want to. But if we want to burn some time, we could look for a specific card, like maybe a better weapon or something. Maybe the flamethrower, for instance, like we tossed away before. So let's see what we get here. Oh. Well, we blew that opportunity pretty badly, so we're going to take a damage for it, which is unfortunate, and whatever effects on it's going to impact us. We got ourselves wounded and angry. This one says discard a card from the row, so we lose the med kit. All right, let's continue onwards and see if we can pull this off. Next one off the top. This is a good one, although it actually provides really good icons. It needs a key. Let's keep on going. We got ourselves some movement here. This one, oh, a grenade launcher. That is awesome. That would be a great one to get right before we hopefully find the queen. This one here, med pack, we don't need as much. We don't need that one as much. We need better icons. Here's one that's not bad. This one has another magnifying glass. We're getting closer and closer to the grenade launcher now. We have 2 of the search icons, I should say. I keep calling them, again, magnifying glasses. This one's good. This actually is not a bad one to go after. So I might take that one. We're going to go ahead and spend. Which one should I burn here? Oh, should I take this one or this one to spend to get this individual? I'm going to spend this one right here in order to take Hobbs, because this will get rid of one of the noise, which is good. And then when Hobbs goes down into my inventory area, gives me some extra stuff, which is nice. So I think that is good. And then we've only got 1 noise in the row now, which is great. And we can keep working towards finding a key or something. And look at that, we found a key. So I'm going to go ahead and discard that key in order to unlock the door to go through 2 more locations. Can we find what we need? We got the commons, and the next one is the landing pad. So we've made it to the landing pad. We're going to fight the alien queen. If we defeat her, we escape and win. She needs 3 hits to take her down. I've got some stuff waiting for the queen. Let's make our first attack. We'll use all 4 ammo from the pulse rifle. We're also going to go ahead and flip over Myra, who's going to provide a nice little explosion into the fray. And we're going to see how much we get off of this. Now with this combination of tokens I've thrown before, you've seen me pull off 3 damage. Let's see if we can get it to take out the queen. We got 1. So the queen takes 1 hit based on the 1 token that landed either in the circle or on the line, and that was the grenade that saved us in this case. We take a damage now from the queen, which gives us our 2nd wound. This one says gain a clip token for our pulse rifle. Not a bad thing to get right now. We'll probably need it. For the attack itself, we lose 1 time, and also I'll be using another time in order to reload my gun. So we'll take that clip off, and this is the one I actually just gained moments ago from the damage I took, and we'll put 4 shots back on, which I will be using in a second anyway to go against this creature, trying to take this queen down. I don't have any more large size tokens, so I'm banking on these small ones of the pulse rifle. I'm using all 4 from the clip that I just reloaded for this next attack here. Let's see how we do. I also have a backup in Hobbs. He can provide me with 3 shots later on if I want to as well, and that would allow me to do it without reloading, which would burn time. So that's definitely a good thing to have Hobbs there for that. We got ourselves 1, but not 3 total. So we are slowly picking away at the alien queen, but we now take a damage. This is going to be our 4th damage, and this one says, retoss any number of tokens you just tossed. Now this is a bit terrifying because when I retoss the ones I want to retoss, being the ones I missed, I could potentially knock out ones that are actually sitting inside the circle. So this could actually be bad for me. It sounds like it's a good thing, but it might actually be bad. We'll see how this goes. It might actually land with the 1 extra I need to take the queen out. We'll see if this happens. Come on. Yes, that is enough. And that's going to do it. The alien queen was taken down. We had 1 more time on 1 more event. Then we would have had 4 more time on the game over card. So time-wise, we were doing really well. I could have pushed a little bit harder there and done a couple more things that would have burnt more time if I wanted to. Things worked out, but on the wound side of the equation, I had 3 wounds. I was getting up there. And of course, depending on how you do with the dexterity thing, well, that can really ramp up with the queen. But I was able to squeak out a victory. So there you have it, a full solo play of Hunted Mining Colony 415. You can see how the dexterity option in the game allows you to have some fun with throwing tokens. And of course, if you find this too easy, you can flip over the target on the card, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, to make things even tougher as those things begin to get smaller. You can go with the hard or expert sections of that particular side, and it can be that much nastier to pull off. Now, we're also going to talk about in a second the result deck, so I can show you how that would work if you don't want to use dexterity. And you might be wondering, well, this is a solo game, it's small box, but it looks like it takes up quite a bit of footprint on the table. It really doesn't. I've just kind of got things sprawled out everywhere. If you can pack things down the way you would typically do it, and actually have the tokens compiled in these cards, and you didn't really sprawl things out, then you would actually have much less on the table. Of course, everything you discard can go off to the side, but I wouldn't discard anything off to the side in terms of the hunted deck, because this gets reshuffled when this hunted deck runs out. So you got to keep that in mind. But otherwise, most stuff right here is really all you need space-wise to play this game. Heading into a combat with an alien, if you don't want to do dexterity, you have the result deck, and you'll just simply shuffle this up. You'll keep this card right here with the icons depicting the different weapon types that can be used, and the dotted lines going off to the right with a row to the right. Depending on what gun you're using against the alien you're trying to take out, again, you need 1 hit to be successful on this one, same as the dexterity. You come over here, you take a look at what you have for shots. If I happen to have 4 loaded and I wanted to use all 4, you'd spend all 4. Very similar to when I toss them in the box. I just go ahead and say, you know what, I want to use all 4. You don't have to, you can use 1 if you want to, but for every token spent this way and discarded, you're going to get a card off the top of the result deck. So you get 4 of them in this case. You simply take them off and you go across the row looking at the icon matching the token you discarded. So in this case, 4 of these, you got yourself a hit here. If it had been the laser in the middle, it would have been a miss. Check marks also count as a success, just like the target rectangle you can see here on these other ones. So far 1 success. We have a miss for the second one. Third one is a hit, that's 2. And 4th one is a miss. So we got 2 hits, which means it's more than enough to take out this alien. But if it had been one of the more nasty aliens that need 3 damage, it only would have taken 2 hits. And that's going to wrap up the full solo playthrough for Hunted Mining Colony 415 2nd Edition, designed by Gabe Barrett, hitting GameFound on May 14th. I really hope this helps you make an informed decision on it. I had a lot of fun going through this. Really enjoyed the dexterity aspect of this. It ties into the theme quite nicely and is very, very fun to try to get through this without the aliens taking you down. On and off camera, I've had a blast. The ones off camera, some have gone south. And of course, as you start to uptick the difficulty, that really starts to ramp things up even more so. So think you guys will enjoy this one. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of what you saw. And thanks again for watching. And as always, keep on rolling solo.